Let's go ahead and mute the Twitch page. Send out the Twitter. Make sure everything's set up. And post in Discord. Alright. Should be good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is February 6th, and this is the February 6th TextQuest Devstream. Today we are going to be focusing on post-processing effects, specifically Unity's post-process stack. That's a lot of S's. And I'm still fairly new to this, so we're kind of going to be stumbling through this. And we're mostly going to be really messing around with this today. I don't know what we're going to end up with. I have a rough idea of what I want to do here, and I have a rough idea of how this stuff is supposed to be set up now. But it is still going to be a little bit of a weird thing. Hello, Dusted. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? But yeah, so it's going to be kind of a weird night, just because, again, I'm not entirely proficient in post-processing yet, so I get the feeling we're going to be kind of doing some really crazy, off-the-wall adjustments to these instead of fine-tuning things. So I'll basically be trying to like block out what I want the post effects to look like, which, of course, does mean... Oh, wait, anti-aliasing is already off. Oh, this is gross. There's like noise coming through, which is interesting. Huh. I wonder what that is. Well, I guess we'll find that out. So, anyway, so the way that this stuff is largely meant to work is we have our post-process layer, which is the actual script that controls when the post-processing happens. So it's like what has the post-processing applied to it. Now that's not the actual information for the post-processing. That's kept in a post-processing behavior, I believe, or post-processing. There's a thing for it. But to get started, we're supposed to add a post-processing volume, which is this. And the volume is what has the actual profile. That's what it's called, which is the information that for the post-processing. Now, for this, there is a concept of a global and a local post-process volume. And the global post-process volume is the volume, and therefore the effects associated with that volume that's applied when you're just in the scene with it. So this is going to be set up at least one... Every level will have at least one post-process volume, and they will contain the post-processing information for that scene. And it will be set to global. Now it can contain more, just, actually I think it can contain multiple global ones, but they kind of get weighted, so that's what the priority here is for. Let's see. Doing alright. That's good. RC went out today, so my stress levels are down quite a bit. Oh yeah, so did everything ship alright then? Judging by the fact that your stress levels are down, then I'm assuming that everything shipped at least alright. Am I doing... we'll see. We'll see how this Devstream goes. I always feel uncomfortable whenever I start doing stuff on the Devstream that I've not really done before, so hopefully this won't turn into a whole, like, terrible show of me not knowing what I'm doing. It's probably going to be like that, but hopefully it won't be. Anyway, for starters, we are going to go ahead and, let's see, first up, we need to come down to our post-processing layer, and we're going to uncheck exclude side. Blah! I lied. We're going to... Wait, that doesn't look very different, though. There's some difference. Is it just... Oh, it's because it's the scene. Duh. Okay. So we want to make sure that we exclude the skybox. Should be in the lighting panel. Yes. Okay. So this is actually kind of nice. So our fog is essentially going to be controlled through the post-processing stack now instead of our global fog script here. Yeah, no major build day issues today. That's always good. You never want issues on the day that you ship. Okay, so one thing that we're going to do to start off with, you'll notice that I'm getting this warning here saying no layer has been set. This has to deal with how local post-process volumes are detected, I believe, if I read the documentation correctly. So what it tells you to do is to use a layer specific to that volume. So I can't set it on default because we'll get this warning. I can set it on pretty much anything else, and it'll be fine. But we probably want to set up some layers specific to that. So I'm going to go ahead and go up here to my layers, which I have 14. Well, technically, I guess I really only have like 6 that I've added myself. One of which is redundant now, but didn't used to be. So we're going to go ahead and add a new layer at 15. We're going to call this post-process volume. We're going to call it that. Okay. Then we're going to come down to, not that this matters, but I guess I'll put that in that layer. And we're also going to rename this, call this global volume. Okay. And I'm also going to come up here to our planes, do a little bit of organization. I'm going to call these post-process volumes. Okay. I'm going to put this here. All right. So now we have a nice and orderly hierarchy. So first things first, I guess we're going to want to apply a new profile, which I guess is probably going to create it in the root. Or interesting, it puts it next to the scene that you're in. That's interesting. Well, I will take it. That's actually kind of, it's not the worst place that I can think of for it. So let's go ahead and add an effect. We will probably want color grading. We'll probably want, that's pretty much it. Might do a vignette for fun, even though we're probably not going to end up doing much with that. And what other effects do we want? BRB. All right. See you when you get back. We probably want ambient occlusion, and I think that's pretty much it for now. And we'll do depth of field too, just to see if we can get that to look right. And then I think we're pretty much good after that. We don't really have a use for screen space reflections. Motion blur, I hate. Grain would make things difficult to read. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Chromatic aberration is way overused in games, I feel. It's kind of like the modern day bloom. And I feel like my game doesn't really have much use for chromatic aberration, at least not right now. And bloom, I personally don't really like bloom, but we don't really need it either, I don't think. And auto exposure, same thing. Don't really need that. All right, so these are all of our current overrides. But before we do anything else, let's go ahead and come down here to the main view. I'm going to set you to post-process volume. We will go ahead and turn off. Well, no, we'll turn you on. Okay, not really getting much out of that. Turn you off. Turn you off. I'm kind of currently right now trying to get rid of. It's very hard for you to see it. In fact, I'm willing to bet that you can't see this on the stream. But it's like the image isn't actually an image. It's like it's made up of a bunch of dots. So I'm seeing some artifacting going on here in the cabin porch area. It doesn't look like shadows being cast onto the cabin. It looks kind of like it gets dithered instead of having actual shadows applied to it. If I turn off the entire layer, it actually looks like I would expect. So that's a little worrying. Although, wow, it like instantly has some color grading applied to it. What is going on here? Like, what else expands? Something else expands here, and I don't know what. Oh, it's probably the 4 command buffers, isn't it? Okay. So now we are going to figure this out. So here's our global volume. We can do color grading. Color space with project settings is set to gamma. HDR color grading will look correct. Switch to there. Okay. Let's see. We're going to change this to low definition range because we can't do HDR. That's perfectly fine. Do I want to try it? No, it's fine. Turn that off for now. We don't actually... Is there a reason? Oh. Oh. Hold on. Time out. Okay. So I can over... Does that actually change things? Huh. So it does. But what's different about it? Like, this is the same value. So what are you overriding from? I guess I just have to override anyway. Alright, so we're going to override that mode. Let's see. Look up texture. We don't have one, so I guess I can't really do that right now. Let's see. Color is going to be... Let's see. I don't really know if I want to tone or change much here as far as tone goes. I kind of like the colors, but I probably, I guess, need to adjust them to make them pop more. Just out of curiosity, see what some of this stuff does. There we go. Perfect. I want that. Solid black. That's kind of interesting, actually. Let's go ahead and switch that. We don't really have a color filter. Right. Hue shift. Well, that's not trippy at all. Huh. That'd actually be pretty cool to animate this and just have it kind of go through. Interesting. Let's go ahead and zero that out. Saturation, I'm assuming, is pretty much... Oh, actually, wow! Ooh, oversaturation. That's a little too juicy. Alright, no worries, Dusted. Depending on how long you're gone, I might actually still be here, so... I'll see you when you get back. Or, if not tonight, then I'll see you later. Alright, so we're still getting that. You know what? I'm actually going to say, before we do any of this, like anything at all, the thing I want to figure out is this dithering. I don't like this. How do I get rid of it? So let's go ahead and collapse all of this. Can I disable things? Probably not. Okay, so it's all there. Wait to 0. Nope. Okay, goody. Is there something on the camera that I can do then? There's no anti-aliasing, there's no fog. Let's see, select custom effects sorting. You've got to be kidding me. There's just there's a really frustrating layer of something here, and it drives me nuts. I'm going to go ahead and just play the scene real quick. I want to see what it looks like in motion. It's still there. Oh, geez, that's so bad. What is going on? So it's probably basically impossible to tell on the Devstream, but it's like they're static over everything. Seriously, what's up with low textures here? Or are they even low textures? Do they just look like that? Wow. Oh, that's probably the depth. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go ahead and go back here real quick. Let's see, depth of field. Turn that off. That's much better. Okay. So, God, yeah, it's really noticeable in shadows, or I guess on darks. It's not really that bad when you're looking at well lit stuff. In fact, right here, I can't really notice it if I look kind of over here. But like looking at the trees, I can just all I see is static. I mean, and obviously not like literal static, like snow or something like that you see on TV, but it's almost like that. It's almost the equivalent of it. It's like it's just constantly jumbling. I don't really know what's doing this. Um, all right. Well, is there something I can do to stop that? I don't know. I would like to. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see. Mode for ambient occlusion. Maybe this. I doubt this will help. Actually, I'm kind of curious if we stop playing, will that go away? It doesn't. That's good. Okay. Makes sense because these are scriptable objects, I suppose. But then what is up with this noise? I'm actually kind of curious about that. Hold on. Unity post-process stack noise. Jeez. Oh, is that dithering? Is that what that is? Whoa! Oh my goodness. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. So this dithering effect might be what I was talking about, and it might not be optional. It seems like that's hard coded in. Oh dear. That is not okay. That is really not okay. Okay, so what are we gonna do about that? I suppose let's go ahead and go to, let's see, standard assets, post processing. I think I need this blue noise. I'm kind of curious. So yeah, you can see this kind of like animation here, although it's probably really hard to see on the Devstream. You can probably see movement. But it seems like this blue noise is what is being used to cover the screen, and that is actually causing significant problems for me. I do not like it. So yeah, this is not great. Let's see here. Do we have editor preferences for this? Let's see here. Oh, really? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I can't even see that. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking I really wish we could resize this, but we can't. Let's see. Trackball sensitivity. I have no idea what that even is. Volume gizmo color. Okay. Well, time to look up what this is. Let's go ahead and say Unity post process stack. What was this called? Trackball sensitivity. Okay. Trackballs sensitivity. Because I mean, if I can just, let's see, new post processing stack, trackball sensitivity, post processing. Let's see. Follow the cursor, intended behavior, color grading software makes trackball tweaking a lot more, especially. Oh, that's the, okay, never mind. That's a completely different thing. That's the editor tools, the well, not gizmos, the controls for color grading and all that. Well, crud. That is not what I was hoping for. I suppose I can try reducing this down to 0. Okay, that didn't do what I was expecting. Let's go ahead and Control Z that. What about you? Setting you to 0. Ah! Got it! Oh, you've got to be kidding me. So this blue noise is what's causing the dithering that I don't like. So I'm going to get rid of it. And by get rid of it, I mean I'm going to replace it with something less intrusive. Presumably, I want it to be solid white. Yes. Let's go ahead and go down here to text quest, art, UI. We should have a solid. Go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm going to make it a texture 2D. So I'm just going to call that default. We will hit apply there. Yeah, whatever. We're going to call you solid dither. Okay, we will set compression to be none. And we're going to go ahead and go back up to our post-process resources here. We're going to shrink you down to about, timeout. It's making that 1. Okay, good. And then we're going to make you a solid dither. Okay, interesting. So that gives us a little bit of a empty overlay, kind of like it's a tint almost. That's not exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna make, I guess, a 4x4 texture that's gray, 50% gray, and maybe that will do what I want. I basically just don't want it to have that dithering because that's incredibly distracting. Especially in my game. So, create new. Let's go ahead and make a, what was it, 4x4. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here. Let's go ahead and do that. Fill. See, we want to fill with 50% gray. Okay, we're just going to save this out real quick as a PNG. Text quest, art, textures. We'll do create new folder, post processing. We're just going to call this gray. Okay, let's go ahead, go back here, text quest, art, textures. I probably should actually, no, we'll go ahead and keep that here. All right, let's go back up to here. We're going to change, we'll just go ahead and say create folder, post processing. All right, pull this in. Aha. All right, let's see. Grab you and boom. Crap. So it must be using. Okay. We're gonna try solid black. Same thing. We're just gonna call this black. See, so either black will work or I'm going to have to use alpha, and if I can't get it to work with alpha, I don't really know what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and put you down here. Okay, grab you. Shoot. Okay, well, that's not exactly what I was hoping for. So let's try a completely transparent texture then. Delete that. Make it a PNG. We'll call it transparent. Okay. Go ahead and pull that in. We're going to say alpha is transparency. Hit apply. That is really funny that it's nothing. Okay. Oh, and you know what? We probably don't need. I'm guessing we don't need maps. We do not. Nor does it have to be read-write enabled. How nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and change all 3 of those. So, no read-write enabled. Probably fine to actually just set that to be point filter. I think about it. And not that it really matters, but 32 max size. All right. Let's see here. Post-process resources. Let's go ahead and pull this in. And oh my! It did not like that. Um, Whew. Interesting. Let's. Is that just because my saturation is messed up? No, that can't be right. Interesting. I'm actually gonna kind of run around here to see what things look like. Like the saturation seems like it got turned way up. Um, very. Oh my goodness! Wow! Like everything got blown way out. Like the lights are not that bad, but the darks they are pitch black. Whoa, man! Like look at that. You can barely even read the the forest. Oh man, like all of this. Oh, it's all gone wrong. It's all gone so wrong. Wow, that's really crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and just because I know that this is going to be something that needs to change. Okay, so let's, I guess, do a color grade. All right, I'm probably not going to actually do that. Saturation, can I? Nope, that's not what I wanted. Lower, I guess. But hue shift is not going to be the thing I want either. Maybe contrast needs to be. That's actually about correct. So -2. Ah, geez, -1. So it looks like my contrast got turned way up. And actually, you know what? For comparison, let's go ahead and turn this off. Oh wow, actually, it does look like -2 seems to be the correct value there. Let's try that again then. So we want to change our contrast to -2-ish. There we go. That seems to be about what the original is. So if we turn this off, okay, there's some difference. It's very slight. On has a slight overlay effect. So can we? Is this a float? This is probably not a float. I do like -1.5. Oh, I can. Okay. Oh, that won't work. Ah, geez, this is kind of annoying because I have to keep scrolling to the bottom here. Let's go ahead and I guess collapse some inspectors at the very least. Let's see, screen shake effect, checks volume, brightness. So at least doing this should keep things a little bit more manageable for us. That's our screenshot tool. Cool. So now everything's there. Let's go ahead and turn this off. All right. I like this now. So we want it to have roughly -1.5 contrast. And we should. Do our colors still look good? I forgot about that. Let's see. It's also interesting. It looks like our shadows are kind of getting a little less, a little farther away than I would expect from the actual wheat. But in any case, colors seem all right. Nothing really terrible standing out. We're not getting any dithering, which is always nice. See, darks look pretty good. Still pitch black back there, but that's kind of how it was before. Yeah, we're not. It's readable, which is the important thing, honestly. All right, so this is about what I would expect things to look like without any additional post-processing on top of it. With that, actually, I'm kind of curious if anti-aliasing then won't be that bad. Let's go ahead and come down here. I'm going to turn on just TAA. Oh dear, I stand corrected. Oh no, no. Oh god, it's like everything. It's like things are just slightly out of focus. It's not quite as bad when you're close up, but oh boy, when you're far away, things just are really tough to read. It's like they're blurring together. Ugh. That's not okay. So let's go ahead, pause that. Let's turn on. Well, it's not that. Interesting. Ugh. I either have to have no anti-aliasing or temporal anti-aliasing. So, made it back. Welcome back. What about bitmaps? What do you mean? We have, by the way, we did just fix the dithering effect I was complaining about by swapping in a transparent texture instead of having 64 black and white textures that it was alternating through. And now we are discussing if anti-aliasing is really something that can be done here, and I am going to argue no, it can't. And it also looks like I can't really use any anti-aliasing besides temporal anti-aliasing because I use fast approximation. We get this, for some reason, lots of gray. We don't have fog enabled, do we? Nope. That's super weird then. And then whatever SMAA is, same result. We get that tint for some reason. But TAA seems to work somewhat, and sharpness. Oh, interesting. I can actually sharpen it up a fair amount. So let's see. Default value there was 0.25. But what if I made you 1? It's actually kind of hard to tell. I'm going to turn off maximize on play so we can mess with these things. Okay. So we want... Oof. Wow, I have to like crank it. That is... Ugh. Now everything looks incredibly sharp. Like, way too sharp. Oh, geez, that's such an awkward thing to look at. So we crank this down to softness, or the softness down again. So 0.25 is the default. That really doesn't seem like it's enough. 1 kind of sharpens things up, but it's a very subtle effect. And then 2 sharpen things up pretty well, but we're still... It's really annoying because there's like there's no real transition from too blurry to too sharp. It's just either too blurry or too sharp. Exactly. They're so sharp, we're going to cut ourselves on these. I wonder if we can maybe... Stop playing real quick. Kind of curious to know what we can get here. Let's see. Can we get... Let's see. Jitter spread. Diameter and texels inside which jitter samples are spread. Smaller values result in crisper but more aliased output. Larger values result in stable but blurrier output. I guess I could change the jitter spread then. Hello, Garrett. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? The post-processing is going... kinda? It's kind of going. Still trying to figure out the ins and outs to make it look the way I would like. I've managed to get rid of the dithering effect so that I don't have a really annoying dither going on in the dark areas of the image. But now I'm trying to see if I can get anti-aliasing to not look like crap. I'm not entirely enthusiastic about that, but I'm trying. So we make that 0. Okay, apparently I can't make it 0. I can only make it 0.75 or 0.1. Stationary blending, blend coefficient for stationary fragment controls history sample blended final color. Motion blending, blend coefficient. Okay, that's not big. Yeah. Don't need fog yet. Although actually, I guess I should have it on because it's kind of going to be in the scene. So let's go ahead and walk around for a bit, and then I'm going to adjust some values. and then we'll walk around some more. Because I'm trying to make things look nice, and I guess that's a lot of stop and go gameplay. Oh my goodness. That is not okay. Okay. That was enough walking around. Let's lower the jitter spread to like 0.1. That is way worse. Smaller values result in crisper but more aliased output. You lie! Like, ridiculous. Wood sign for a while there was too blurry. It's really hard to explain why it looks so bad because I don't think it's really being conveyed through the stream. I think the compression on the video is enough to hide it from the stream itself. But God, to me, it's so terrible. If I turn you off, that's infinitely more preferable. Jeez. Okay. So if I make you like 1, I don't really get much there. Oh my goodness. Oh, and also, yeah, I keep forgetting that I need to, well, actually, I guess I don't forget because I currently have it turned off. So we're not going to do depth of field. That's not something that will work with this aesthetic. It makes the textures blurry when you're next to them. Stream is only 720p anyway. Yeah, I mean I can up the stream back to 1080p, but I know that some people were having some like bitrate issues with that. And I'm not cool enough to have settings. Oh, except I totally do right now. Dang it. But let's go ahead and go back. Not here. Where's my camera? Main camera. So, turn it on, off. That's fine. I don't think I can really get away from this jitter. Let's see. Stationary blending, blend coefficient for a stationary fragment controls the percentage of history sample blended into the final color. I have no idea what that even does. We're not getting much. Oh, wait, hold on. That sharpens it up a lot. Okay. So if I set you to 1? Oh, I guess I don't want to do that. How about 0.01? Is there even a point to that? Actually, holy crap. That preserves the crispness of the textures. Although interesting, we're getting some jitter pretty bad up there at the top. I'm not sure if you can see that on the stream, but the top window in the attic is looks like it's pulsing, kinda, for me. Let me see. Yeah, I kind of see that all over the place now that I look at it. Let's go ahead and pause this. Do I want to change my jitter spread then? Let's shorten this to 0.25. That is better. We're not really... That's not too bad. Kind of looking at the jaggies on the edge here. It looks pretty decent. Can I shorten you even further to like 0.1? Still getting jitter. Yeah, it's hard to really convey what I'm seeing here because I know that the stream is not doing a good job of showing it. But there's on the edge of pretty much everything, there's like a slight dance going on, which I'm assuming is what the jittering is for. But maybe we can crank this to 1. It's not bad. Honestly, the main thing is I just want to make sure that I can maintain texture crispness, which I can sort of do as long as my my blend is set way low. So if I do like 0.1 even, way too much. 0.54321. God, even 1 is... Oh, and also I did that wrong. Sorry, 0.54321. Like I can barely do any blending. Ugh. don't know what to do to make it look not terrible. Man, even here, even on this edge with my face pressed like right against it, there's some dancing going on here. Jeez. Or I guess I should call it jitter. I can't really shorten you down to like 0.01. Does that help at all? Oh, geez, no, that does not help at all. You might be able to see this even on the Devstream. Like the piece of board here looks like it's, it basically looks like it's moving back and forth, kind of. Ugh. Well, so anti-aliasing is still kind of a bust. And I mean, I knew that going in, admittedly. So, disappointing. We'll turn that off for now, mostly because I can't seem to get it to look quite right. Okay, so no anti-aliasing. What is the next thing we want to try and mess with? Let's see here. No anti-aliasing. We have fog enabled. Let's go to our global volume. Even when stationary, I couldn't get TAA to look good. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, it's weird. It's TAA is really cool in what it does, but if you have any amount of sharpness or crispness that you need, it's just not a good anti-aliasing solution. Because it seems to smooth everything, which is kind of the point, right? Because TAA is meant to smooth motions across, well, time. That's why it's called temporal anti-aliasing. And my assumption is that because it's trying to smooth things out across time, even if nothing's moving, it still has to behave as if they are. So you're probably getting like sub-pixel imperfections in calculations, and that's what's causing the jittering. That would be my guess. I don't know that that's actually the case, but that would be my guess. Let's see. I don't even know if, like, is this even doing anything right now? I am not noticing a vignette effect, like, at all. I don't see it. It's kind of weird. Can I do the center of, like, one? No? Okay, well. Huh. Not really seeing much here. Kind of curious what's going on. Let's see here. Color, turn you off. White. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that was black. Intensity. Oh, it probably has an intensity of 0. There we go. I'm not really. Oh, that's what it was. It was just too subtle, I think. Planning on looking at the old anti-aliasing stuff. DLAA? I don't know what that is. See how that goes. Yeah, some stuff in the world would flicker like crazy. World space text on signs. Yeah. Jeez. I honestly don't know if there's too much I can really do with post-process. Actually, that's a lie. That's a really stupid way to think of things. There's a lot of stuff that I could do with post-processing, like having the vignette be active when you're in the dark. That would actually be pretty cool. But I do get into other situations with mess with this. Oh yes, red. There we go. Perfect. I think black vignette's probably fine. Actually, yeah, black's probably fine. Let's see. I bought a super sampling solution, but it kills frame rate pretty bad. Yeah, I actually have a. I guess I don't have it on my camera. I bought a like super sampling thing as well, but it got deprecated, I guess. So I probably need to look into another asset that does that. Because super sampling did seem to work really well, but it's also stupidly expensive because it's just a giant upres. Um, so it's not the best solution. And part of the problem is that when I have anti-aliasing, when I get that figured out, I have to support multiple types. Because you want to allow people who want anti-aliasing but don't have the hardware for something like super sample anti-aliasing, which is the best one? Question mark. Like it's the most, at the very least, it's the prettiest one. Um, but you need to allow people who want anti-aliasing but don't have the hardware for it to be able to run like FXAA. Except I apparently can't do FXAA because everything looks hideous. So that's not going to be a fun thing that I have to figure out. Oh, this is something completely different. Vignette. Let's see, intensity of 0.5. It's fine. Let's see, smoothness, roundness, rounded. Interesting. What is perfectly? Oh, perfectly round literally just means a circle. Why wouldn't you call it circular instead of roundness? Interesting. We can use squarish. Oh, it's like a old school projector almost. I like it. We'll just have the entire game be like this. Let's go ahead and change that roundness a little bit. Turn you off. Intensity of 0.5. We can actually even override the color. This vignette. I feel like I'm in a helmet. So actually, I'm going to turn that off. That's super distracting. So I have a couple of rules for text quest aesthetic. One of the rules is that things need to be legible, and anti-aliasing, at the very least temporal anti-aliasing, basically blurs everything. And for most games, that's not really a huge problem because the blurring actually usually helps the textures look, I don't want to say less terrible, but look a little bit more filtered like they would in real life. But because my aesthetic requires that you be able to read everything, having soft fuzz or having that softness to everything makes it actually hurt your eyes. It's like trying to read a page from a book if all of the words were just slightly out of focus. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really strains on your eyes after a while, especially if you're trying to read something far away, which anti-aliasing apparently just makes horrendous. And again, I apologize because the Devstream is not really a good place for you guys to see this, because the compression on the video feed is enough that it hides a lot of that from you, which is why you probably hear me complaining about a bunch of stuff that doesn't quite look like it's that bad on the stream, but in person, trust me, it's pretty bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause real quick. So the vignette actually is not super applicable in gameplay. I don't like vignettes very much, but it could be useful when you get in the dark as a nice effect to let you know that you're in the dark. Not again, Sky. Either way, welcome back, Sky. How are you tonight? Besides floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, I guess. Alright, so we want... We're going to disable the vignette. We will crank our ambient occlusion. I'm actually kind of curious to see what we can get from this. Perfect. Actually, oh my goodness, that's terrifying. Huh. If it wasn't for the really bad artifacting, actually, this would be super creepy. Like everything just kind of pops. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and change that back. Let's see. So this is off. Probably want just a softness to everything, like right about there. 0.2. It's not that bad. Good. Sleeping. This is your body talking to us without your mind. All right. All right. I can believe that. I seem to be getting some sort of like cascade. Kind of see that here. Is that the fog? Let's turn off the fog and figure it out. Let's see, main camera. Gonna turn off the fog. It is the fog. Crap. Yes, that was the plan all along. You all thought I was making a text adventure. In reality, it was a horror game. Okay, so fog actually gives us that overlay effect, which is not that great. You might be able to see this on the Devstream. It's kind of doing like cascades. You can see like a color slowly clip in from the left here. I would use my mouse to illustrate where it was, except that would make me look there. So, although maybe I can, hold on. Oh, I can't do that because if I click off, I can't move. Dang it! Yeah, dang it, that's really annoying. Not the end of the world, it just kind of looks a little crappy to me. Only caps. I don't know. I feel like caps lockdown would be pretty good for a horror-based text adventure that's filled with puns. Let's see. Let's check out our other things. Ambient occlusion. I think that's actually at a pretty good place. Let's real quick though mess with some thickness modifiers because I'm curious to see what these all do. Interesting. It's doing something, but not a lot. Oh, geez. The minutia of the scaling. Come on. This is what happens when you scrub without remembering what the original value was, which I'm pretty sure was 1. But, you know, I want to make sure. Oh, whatever, it's 1. I'm just going to assume that it's 1. That seems to be about what's expected. Thickness of occluders. This increases dark areas, but also increases... My caps is stuck. 18 and up game. Exactly. It's the perfect thing. No one would ever see it coming. So yeah, it looks like 1. Color is actually pretty cool that we could... Huh. That could make things really interesting. Because we could actually drive shadows almost. That's interesting. For now, we'll leave it black, but that's actually pretty cool. Thickness modifier, don't really need to change. Intensity and mode doesn't really need to change. Ooh, actually, this is a really noticeable difference. Which one do I like more? Use classic mode for parametric controls. Wait, what? Well, that's not very useful now, is it? We don't have a texture mask, and why would we have that in ambient occlusion? Multi-scale volumetric obscurance versus scalable. Let's see, scalable gives us a radius. Oh, that's interesting. So we can basically just control how far out it goes. I think for now, though, we're just going to go ahead and say multi-scale, and that should be fine. If I pre-order Text Quest, do I get a beta that starts a week before launch and 5 supply crates with rare letters in them? Well, you don't get 5 supply crates because why would I give those to you for free when instead you could pay me $5 per crate for the chance to unlock a rare letter? Because, you know, it's much better. It's all about your choice, the player's ability to choose that they want those rare letters. You know, and it's not like I'm going to make it something that would be very vital to the gameplay. Like, I'm not going to stick an E in the letterbox for some reason. Why would I do that? No. I mean, everyone will have access to the most common letters. You know, A, B, A and B for the most part. And then if they want more letters, they can buy them separately for a small fee, really. Well, I say buy, when really I mean, put money into a system that may or may not give them what they want. So, yes and no. You might get early beta, but you won't get 5 supply crates. Okay, so I think we're pretty good on ambient occlusion here. Vignette is pretty good as well, and I am... Oh boy, color grading. This is going to be interesting. So I guess I actually have to have color grading on right now, otherwise it goes nuts. Color grading is going to be a whole other beast. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and stop playing. And we're going to add another post-process volume. So it's going to be for dark areas. Specifically, it's going to be over here. So when you start walking into the woods, I actually want it to blend the effect volume so that it gives you that vignette effect. So let's go ahead and make a game object. It's going to be on the post-process volume layer, of course. It will be called darkness volume. Let's add a post-process volume. We will, I guess, add a new profile. Okay, select that. Is it in the same spot? It is. That's good. It is not global, so we are going to want to add a box collider to this. Okay, we're going to make it a trigger. And let's see, where are you? Go ahead and come over here. I'm going to turn on my light dark zone. And I'm going to just copy this. So copy, and it looks like we're at 6, 6, and 8. And 6, 6, and 8. Oh, interesting. These volumes are actually lit up. Huh. All right, then. Oh, really? Is that what that... Oh, cool. All right. Buy the season pass now and get the last 4 letters for free. I feel like W, X, Y, and Z are not really that great of letters to have. There are a couple of words in the game that really utilize those, but not a ton. I guess Y would be more useful than X, Z, or W for the most part. The gearbox approach to things. I see. Yeah, that would be pretty funny though. 3D printed letters. They're just like fridge magnets. Like not even custom made ones, but like the fridge magnets that you spend $1 on at the store. They're just in random colors. Really crappy plastic. It's perfect. I love it. It's brilliant. Okay, so we have our trigger. Oh, this makes things so freaking annoying. Crap. So, since this darkness volume is in the post-process volume and not the ignore raycast layer, I can't work with it very well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to ignore raycast. And I'm going to change this to ignore raycast as well. Let's see if that works. I bought X on eBay for 60 grand. It's the only X in the game. Actually, you know what? I've been excited about talking about this, but I've been in talks with Nintendo. So I'm gonna have amiibos, and I'm gonna have 26 amiibos, and I will only make one of each letter. And in order to unlock the game, you're gonna have to get it on Switch and use those amiibos to unlock letters. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off anti-aliasing again. Let's see here. Where is our darkness volume here? Okay, so we want to override our, where are you? Vignette. Okay, so we're going to come down to here, and we are going to say classic mode. That's fine. Color is fine. Center intensity is going to be set to 0.5. And that's all I really want. So I'm going to try this and see if it does what I expect. Again, I haven't really used these much, so my expected behavior here is that I'm going to walk into that volume, and while I'm in that volume, it's going to use this post-processing. Like, that's going to layer over things. It did. It did not transition like I was hoping it would, which is really annoying. You've got to be kidding me. So it doesn't really blend so much as just, like, snaps. That's fair. Oh, and wait, does this? Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So I need to animate that because that's pretty bad. In that case, so we can't really do that, but we could. No. Hold on. Total weight of this volume in the scene. Yeah, we don't care about that. Okay. So I guess we're going to try to script this. This is going to be, oh dear, quite terrifying, I'm sure. So when we enter a dark area, we want it to change the vignette's values. Primarily, meaning enable it and then move it from 0 to about 0.5, it looks like. Because we can't use the actual blending here. That's not going to give us good enough results. So let's go ahead and turn you off. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to open up the post-processing controller. Cruel. At that point, you might as well not release the game. Yeah, that's true. I think if I did that, then I would either be the most successful game developer in the world, or I would have a very short-lived career. One of the two, really. And only one of those two. Close a bunch of stuff we don't need anymore. Alright. So this is going to be interesting. I think I'm going to want to say using Unity standard assets post process. Okay, nope. What are you a part of? Unity engine.rendering. Okay, that's interesting. Using Unity engine.rendering.post. Oh, you cannot be serious. Don't you? Don't you dare. Don't you dare be coy with me. Okay, it's not internal, but why can't I see this? Interesting. Also, just to let you guys know, I'm at 2,999 total views. So I don't know who the next person to watch the stream is, but whoever they are, they're going to set off a chain reaction and make that 3,000. So why can't I see that namespace? If I do, did I spell it wrong? It's Unity engine.rendering. Post process. Dot post processing. Really? There we go. Dot star. That won't work. Okay, that's really weird. Let me check Unity engine dot rendering dot. Interesting. Command buffer, cull mode, graphics, light probe usage. Reflection probe, shadow probe, splash screen. Oh, that's interesting. You can do stuff with that. Huh. So Oh, come on. Are you serious? I can't affect this stuff via scripting? Because I know that that can't be right. Let's take a look at this. Um, let's see. Push overrides to the stack for time-based events or temporary states. Dynamically create a profile with a few overrides. Put them in profiles. Blah 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 blah. I guess that's true. I only really need to affect the profile, don't I? So I guess let's edit the script. It's still in there. Now streams on Twitch. In 5 years, has sold a video game to a studio. 2 years later, it's bought by EA. A year later, found dead in a bathtub. You're forgetting about the literal, not figurative, metric ton of cocaine that will be in the hotel room. Obviously. You know, you don't want to leave that detail out. I'm going to lead a very exciting life. So this is, what the heck? Why can't I reference this? Post-process. Let's see. Post-process. Interesting. Oh, I know why. Duh. I feel stupid. But what else is new? It's because of this. Where are you? This. I need to make sure that this is referencing post-processing. Fine, we'll revert. I think it's this, by the way. That's what I was looking for, and I couldn't find it. Well, we have to wait for Unity to continue to compile. But yeah, I forgot to assign an assembly definition file. So that would be why I can't see it. Let's see, post-processing runtime. We'll go ahead and apply that. And then once that happens, oh, that's going to trigger a complete re-import of this. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, good. So now I can say, okay, I can't. Which probably means I have to close this, then reopen it, doesn't it? I guess I should probably also wait for Unity to finish compiling. Oh yeah, cocaine bought by supply, great money. Exactly. You know. And of course I'll have to share the wealth, so I'll have some amount of cocaine randomly put inside of the boxes. So if you pay in, you could get an in-game asset or a virtual voucher for cocaine. Clearly that is that's the best solution that I can come up with. Okay, let's have this rebuild. And now we should be able to actually edit that stuff, or at the very least reference it. Okay. Unity engine.rendering. Not right now. Dot. There it is. Okay. So that means I can do this public post-process layer. I don't know what to call this really. I guess I'll just say layer. Okay. Do I really? No. Actually, time out. Is there really not a way to blend natively with the stack? Like, I can't believe that it's just a hard switch. Like, there's no real. Here we go, fading. Based on a gameplay event, you do it manually via an update method is described in. Let's see, vignette pulse, vignette script logic, create instance vignette, enabled override, intensity override, post-processing instance, quick volume. Sequence, append, blah, 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 blah. Runtime utilities, dot destroy volume. That doesn't seem right. I'll give you that one. That's a good pun. Well, thanks for stopping by, Sky. Go get some sleep. Ugh. What exactly are they doing here? So they're grabbing the current volume. And then, oh, I see what they're doing. They're just lerping its weight from 0 to 1, aren't they? Okay. I see. So what I want is not quite as complicated as I thought it was. So I essentially need to set its weight to be 0, and then I need to animate it based off of if it should be used or not. Jeez, that complicates things so much. Although actually I might be able to a little bit more easily handle this than I think. So we're going to go ahead and hit play here. And I've set the weight to 0, which means that when we run into that volume, I'm guessing it won't actually change anything because it's set to be 0. So if we go in here, good. Nothing happened because we're at 0. So what we would logically want to happen is we would want this to animate from 0 to 1. So we're going to need to create a script for this. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this. Save that out. So I'm going to make a new trigger script that will basically listen for the player to enter it, and then it will lerp the weight of the post-process volume when you enter it. So let's see here. We're going to want triggers. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving too fast. I have to wait for Unity to compile. Mustn't be too hasty, of course. Well, while that's happening, did everyone see the Heavy Falcon liftoff today? For those who weren't aware, we now have a car orbiting Earth. And by car, I mean an actual car, like a Tesla. It is a Tesla that is just orbiting Earth, constantly playing Space Odyssey, I believe. Because that is what humanity has been building towards. For 10,000 years of civilization, all of it led to putting a car in orbit around the sun for 1 billion years. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new C# script. I'm going to call this post-process trigger. We'll say post-process volume trigger. Post-process volume trigger. It was so good. It was. We were really excited. We put it on at the office. We just had it live streaming on our TV. We were really excited because it was gonna end in one of two ways. One, we had a successful launch, and we now have a system, or we're witnessing the birth of a system that lets us fairly reliably and cheaply, relatively speaking, put things into space. Or two, we have a massive fireball just in the middle of Florida. So really, either way, it was going to be worth it. Okay, so this is going to be in text quest. It's going to be. Do I want to put it under? Do I have a specific thing? Yeah, I have a text quest trigger. I don't remember if that has everything that I need in it, or really if it has. Yeah, we got that, which I don't really need. So I'm just gonna make it a mono behavior and keep it slim. So we're gonna say serialized field private, not void, private string player tag is equal to player. I'm gonna make that a tag. Oops. Tag attribute, which of course means I need to say using sleepyowl.common. Okay. Then we're going to want to say, I need to say using Unity Engine. Using Unity Engine dot rendering dot post processing. We're going to have a serialized field private post process crap profile. That's what we want. No. We want the volume, don't we? We'll just say volume. And we'll have serialized field, private, float. fade duration is equal to, we'll say 1f. Let's go ahead and tooltip this. We're going to say time it takes for the target volume to crossfade in/out when this trigger is entered/exited. All right. Not sure what happened to the center booster. Oh yeah, the center booster was a little sketchy there. Also, hello, Rohit Batra. Thank you for following. And also, welcome to the Devstream. So, hey, Omega, you almost snuck in there, actually, because Dusted Ham and your font colors are the same. That's bad random color choice on Twitch's part. Either way, welcome back. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, it was kind of funny. We were talking about that at the office when the secondary boosters landed safely, and then they just stopped transmission after the car got released, and we were just talking in the office like they never confirmed that the center booster landed. What does that mean? So yeah. So that's a little disappointed, but still in the grand scheme of things, it didn't blow up on the launch pad. It didn't destroy the launch pad. The two of the boosters landed safely, like 50 feet from each other, which is pretty impressive. Actually, I think it was probably closer to 50 meters, but anyway. So on the whole, it was probably a very, very successful flight. The only way it could have been more successful if the middle booster didn't get destroyed, but. So we're going to say private void on trigger enter. Okay. Then private void on trigger exit. This is kind of nice. We didn't used to get these autocompletes for on trigger enter stuff. That is super nice. Then we got to go ahead and say if collider, I guess it's called other, dot compare tag with player tag. Oh, come on. Tag. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and rename this. Call this call, because that's what I like to do. Call. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Okay, and then we are going to need a private void update function, because we're going to need to lerp this stuff. Let's see. Except for that, it was pretty much perfect. Exactly. Finally working on some interesting stuff for my engine, main loop, and Windows system. Nice, nice. So when you say Windows system, do you mean the actual window for the application, or do you mean like a UI system within your game? Or, I guess, your engine. Okay, so how do we want to do this? We're going to want to say private float crossfade is equal to 0f. Okay. We are going to want to say how do we want to do this? Private bool fade in is equal to false. I guess we'll say on trigger enter we'll say fade in equals true, and on trigger exit we'll say fade in is equal to false. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to set a flag, and then in update we're just going to say, is this flag set, and if so, what value are we at, and if this flag is not set, then are we over 0 for the crossfade? If so, we're going to just constantly crossfade this down, and if not, we're not going to do anything. So I'm going to say if fade, wow, that was terrible spelling, fade in, we're going to do that, else, alright, so if fade in and crossfade is less than 1f, else if crossfade is greater 0f. Okay, so we're going to want to say crossfade minus equals time dot delta time divided by fade duration. Okay, do the opposite up above here. Say plus equals instead. Let's see. Window for the application. Okay. Alrighty, right. I actually recently messed with some Windows window app API to get a what is it? A borderless window set up for a Unity application. It's okay. It's surprisingly annoying to do that though, just because it does all kinds of weird stuff. Anyway, so we have our crossfade going up. And we want to set our volume.weight to be equal to crossfade. Pretty much gonna have that happen here. Same thing here. And the real question here is, I guess I'm kind of going to do a safety check here and say if crossfade is equal to 0f, crossfade is equal to 0f. I know this is a weird line. This is mostly because of how float comparisons can sometimes suss out inside of Unity. Because if I just do this straight up, if this is less than 1 or if this is greater than 0, it can stop at like, in this case the crossfade is greater than 0, it can actually stop at like 0.001 or 0.009. And that would give it a very slightly perceptible effect. So by doing this float comparison here, I can basically say, do you think that you're at 1? If so, just set it to 1, and I know you'll be correct. Same thing for 0. Do you think that you're at 0, even though there's probably a little bit of floating point error there? If so, hard set it to 0. Okay, and that's pretty much all I need to do for this script. So let's go ahead and let that compile, and we'll attach that to our darkness volume here. And then we should be able to actually see that blend happen. So, oh, okay, that's interesting. I guess I did that like right at the perfect moment. Let's see. Can't remember why, but at some point I had to embed a Unity app in a Windows form. Ugh. Was that just like a WebGL app, or was it an actual EXE or something? Because of the way I set up the project, I had to start with figuring out how to combine my 4 projects: utility, core, engine, and editor. Utility is header only, which used to be in the core, but core is a static library. Included in the engine. Engine is DLL. The editor is an actual EXE. Man, yeah, that's kind of weird. Okay, so we're going to say post-process volume trigger. We get our player tag. That's good. Our volume is going to be here. And fade duration of 1. Okay, so let's try this out. So what should happen now is when the player enters this volume, we should get a crossfade of the vignette effect. I really hope this works. Yay, it works. Oh, leaving did not like that. Oh, crap! Oh, that sucks so hard. Okay. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that makes sense. So actually, if I did this, hold on. There it is. Yeah, you can see it. Like, it doesn't get all the way faded out before it starts to fade back in. That's because I'm. Yeah. So what's happening here is that the post-process effect only applies as long as I'm in this volume. So even though it is crossfading out when I leave, the problem is that the post-processing volume doesn't care. As soon as I leave this volume, it's just like that's it. That's really annoying. Okay. Crap, that's not great. In that case, I guess that means. Okay. Could I make this a global volume? Would that work? Let's try it out of curiosity. So we should have the same effect now. The only difference is that when we turn on this post-processing volume, it's not going to go away. So now the trigger is basically just serving as an entry point and telling us when we're inside of it. Let's see if this works. Okay, that works. There we go. So that's actually more like I would expect. Although it seems to take a lot longer to fade in than it does to fade out. It's kind of weird. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's just that it's much more noticeable when it's fading out. Near me. Alright, see you when you get back. The difference between core is that core has independent system like windowing, rendering, physics, etc. and the engine combines them and has the systems that need the other systems, main loop, UI profiling. Okay. You're going to have to post some updates for your engine, like post some screenshots or something at some point. Actually, I guess before I forget, I probably should go ahead and do this. Give me a second. Give me a second. I don't know if I posted this with you. If I posted this with you watching before, but we have a Discord now, Gelmega. So if you have Discord, feel free to join up and then occasionally post work in progress stuff on your engine. That'd be pretty exciting, actually. But in any case, let's see. The only thing I have to show currently is the entire list of files I have. Yeah, you know, whenever you get to the screenshot phase, I guess. I mean, you can post screenshots of your folder. See all those exciting DLLs. Anyway, so this is a viable method. It's kind of annoying because this seems to really limit the usefulness of volumes, because I have to make them global anyway if we're going to get any sort of animated effect. Not ideal, but it works pretty well though, at the very least. Okay. Also, I'm kind of curious if we hold this, and let's go ahead and light lamp. Is this going to be rendered over? Oh, it is. I think it's a little hard to tell because it cuts off, but I think it is. I guess one way to know. I'm a little worried that my items will just draw over whatever effect I have. So let's just go nuts here and change our intensity. Oh no! It does. It renders above it. Okay. So yeah, we gotta change that. Okay, let's go ahead and make you 0.5, and I think I know what we're gonna do with that. I really hope this works. I'm going to move this onto the equipment camera. That is not okay, actually. Oh, it has to be done to both! Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Really? Crap. Okay. Well, let's try that then. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm not a huge fan of this. Paste component is new. Oh, that's interesting. We don't get the option for deferred fog. Interesting. Oh, because it's in rendering. That makes sense. Okay. No custom effects, which is fine. We don't actually care about that. Um, let's see what this looks like, I guess. I'm kind of worried that it's gonna not. Oh dear. Um, it's not gonna like having two separate post-process layers, but I need one on each camera. So that's not great. Let's go ahead and take this. Hold and light. So now the vignette effect should be over it. It is. I believe it is. We're getting some softness over there. Just to be sure, of course, I am going to go ahead and change this. Let's go ahead and crank that. Yep. So now that's being rendered over our lamp. Which actually... Oh... Dang it, that... okay. So 0.5 would normally be like the default. But I kind of think that if I have an item like this, then I actually should change it so that our profile here is centered at like what, 0.75 and then 0.25. So it's a little bit more ridiculous because it's off center like that, but it does make your light a lot more prominent, and it makes it feel like the light is lighting up darkness. You get this. God, that's a bit much though, especially because you can just look up and it's not dark. Huh. You mind if I show the GIF on the stream? Or I guess people can look for it in the chat. So I kind of like having that there, but also that's a really terrible vignetting effect. Maybe we should reduce. Okay, let's reduce that to like 0.25. That's a little bit better. Makes it feel a little bit more like we would expect. The vignetting is very subtle, though. It's not terrible. I kind of like that.
Prescribed for my chronic back pain.
Ah! That's what happens when you leave a window open. Well, for those who are curious and can't look at the chat, it's this. Go ahead and mute the tab. Tons of stuff. All right. So interesting. So I actually want to change this to, let's see, 0.5. This is actually kind of interesting. I jeez. So I might need to have an actual manager for darkness, which I might already have. It's been a while since I've used it, if it still exists. Okay, I don't. So the problem is that I need to basically change these values based on if you're in the dark and if you have a light. And if you have a light, we need to lerp different values or lerp over to them. Okay. So let's try to get that set up. This is going to be a headache, isn't it? Yeah, this is going to be a huge headache, actually. Let me think. So, let's come over here. We're going to remove the vignette effect. We are going to remove the depth of field effect, because right now all we really care about is color grading and ambient occlusion. Darkness does care about the vignette, but we need a way to animate these values based on what you currently are doing. So Do I want to have a centralized system for that? I don't really think that that makes sense. Jeez, but if I don't do it like that, I have such complicated things I have to do here. Um, so currently the way darkness works is I have a bool that I set on the player. So if we go to here, you can see that we have an in dark value here. And if we go to definition, what we do is whenever we enter darkness, we have an event that fires. Whenever we exit, we exit that. But the problem is, I need to detect if or when I enter and exit darkness, as well as the state I'm in while I'm in that darkness. So I need to know if I'm lit. If I do have a light source, then I need to basically have different vignette values than if I don't have a light source on. And that's going to get really complicated really quickly. Okay, let me think. How do I want to handle this? Well, so I could have the level managers handle this. Um, so part of the other challenge here is that when that hero event fires, it I can't really assign local event listeners to that unless I make sure to remove them from the reference for it. Otherwise, whenever the player enters a dark area and fires that event, it's going to throw a null reference exception because something got deleted that was listening for it but wasn't unsubscribed from it. So I can't really handle it that way. I have to make sure that I clean everything up. And level manager does give me a very convenient way of doing that because I have a level cleanup and a level start load, and both of those functions can basically set and register and unregister a event listeners. Jeez. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Take a look at it. Let's come over here to planes. Open up planes manager. We'll go over to level manager. Problem is that I really don't want to do this just because there's so much crap in level manager already. I really don't like that. So I completely forgot that I even had this. Which I guess makes sense because that's the hint. Jeez. Okay. How do I want to do this? So I could have an actual listener, maybe like a light dark listener or manager of some kind. Oh, that doesn't really make sense. But I also don't really want. I don't know if level manager should be the thing that listens for it. Um, 'Cause it just adds unneeded complexity. Uh, well, okay. Let's do this then. I'm gonna create a new behavior, which I guess would just go under environment. Maybe. Let's see, general. Actually, where is level manager located? Because wherever that is probably where I want to put this. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and say create C# script. I'm gonna call this light dark manager. All right, let's open this up. Okay, put this in the text quest namespace. We're going to say using Unity Unity engine dot rendering dot post processing. We are. That's pretty much all we care about, I guess. It is going to be a mono behavior, and this isn't going to be a thing that has. Well, this is going to be interesting. This isn't going to be a thing that has a collider. It's going to be just be something that purely listens for events being fired. So I'm going to say private void start, as well as private void on destroy. That should do everything that I want. So for this, we're going to go ahead and, geez, actually start is going to be made an IEnumerator. So I'm going to need to say using system.collections. We're going to say IEnumerator. Okay, so we're going to say while global dot hero reference is equal to null, yield return null, and let's see. So we're basically going to wait for the hero to exist in the scene. Once we do that, then we can say global dot hero, not that. Really got to rename that class. Global dot hero reference. I can just say dot hero dot enter darkness plus equals. We're just going to hit tab there. Then we'll also go ahead and say global dot hero dot exit darkness plus equals tab. Let's go ahead and say on exit darkness. Let's rename this to on enter darkness. On enter darkness. Let's go ahead and move these things up. Put these here. Put that there. Get rid of the throw exception. Get rid of the extra brace. Okay. And on top of that, we're going to want to say serialize field private post process volume. We're going to set this to God, this is going to be all kinds of weird now, isn't it? So this will be pure dark. This volume, private post process volume, lit darkness volume. Serialize that field. Let's go ahead and tooltip these so I don't mess these up later. Tooltip will be volume used when the player is in the dark with a light. Paste it in. Say without a light. Okay. We will say serialize field private float fade duration is equal to, I guess we'll say 1F. Again, tooltip this. We're just going to say time for the volumes to volumes to fade in / out. Okay. And I think that's pretty much all I need. So, geez. Am I going to do some crazy editor stuff here? I might do some crazy editor stuff here. Oh dear. I can't do it like that, can I? Oh, that's so disappointing. Dang it. Okay. So I was actually thinking about doing a really crazy editor thing where I could just render the inspector for our post-processing volume twice, but each one would have different settings associated with it. But I can't really do that because the way that system works requires a lot of JSON utility stuff, and that can't crossfade. That has to just like brute force set values. So I can't really do that. Crap. Well, do I really want to try and crossfade between the two of them? I guess so. All right. All right. Let's just go ahead and try this. So first thing to do is we're going to. Oh, right. Of course, we're going to also say here minus equals. Oh, geez. I probably should also go ahead and say if dot hero reference, just in case I delete my player character before this is deleted. But on Enter Darkness, we're going to want to start a crossfade. So it's pretty much going to be the same code that we set up in our post-process volume trigger. Go ahead and copy this. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. Copy. Now we're going to come down here, paste that in. All right. And we're going to need private. Why won't IP work? Private. There we go. Private float crossfade is equal to 0f. That should fix that. Let's go ahead and say private bool fade in is equal to false. Okay. On exit darkness, I guess we're going to say fade in is equal to false. On enter darkness will be fade in is equal to true. Okay. For the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and make this lerp for with the pure volume. And we're just going to test this. So this is essentially just a slightly fancier, non-trigger based version of entering darkness, essentially. And that means we can just turn that off, and it should work. Okay. Oh, right. And I probably should go ahead and put in our light dark manager. Otherwise, nothing would actually change. Okay. I'm compiling. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and slap this on here. We're just going to put our darkness in right there. All right. So I should be able to just walk into the darkness. Once I do so, we should crossfade in. Ugh, got the hiccups. So it should look the same. Good. Oh, right. We reduced its strength to 0.25. Okay. So that's good. And we are going to go ahead and reset that. Set you to 0.5. Okay. Smooth this. Interesting. So on top of that, jeez, this is going to be really interesting. This is going to be so weird, but okay. So I essentially need to be able to crossfade between post-process volumes so that I can move the vignette effect values. Ugh. Or I could just animate them, I guess. Okay. I mean, the problem is that I don't really want to do it that way. I would prefer to be able to crossfade entirely between post-process volumes in case I ever want to do other things and not have to reassign all those values. So we're going to get some oddities, actually. Geez, I don't know if I can do that in an update. I might have to do coroutines. That should be fine. Okay. Jeez. No. That's not good enough. Okay. Let's go ahead and duplicate. Let's remove what I don't need. Remove you. I'm going to duplicate this. We're going to say darkness volume. say darkness lit volume. Okay. I can. This is going to be interesting. If I override one, does it override the other? It does. Okay, that's fair. So I don't actually need to override this center. Heck, I don't even think I need to override this intensity. Or do I actually? That's a good question. Oh, I turned it off. Add effect. Let's see what the default vignette values are. 0.5 intensity is 0. Okay, so let's remove that. I do need to override the intensity of the darkness volume. And this one. I'm going to go ahead and clone this. We're going to rename this to darkness lit profile. Okay, we will override our intensity, 0.25, override the center to be 0.75 and 0.25. Accidentally set that back up, 0.25. Okay. Let's go ahead and save that. And you guys are set up correctly? Yes. Alright, so let's see, darkness volume, darkness lit volume. So we need to find a way to crossfade both of those values in and be able to crossfade between them. Oof, that is kind of awkward. So fading one in is fairly trivial, but fading both in is not so much. I need to find a way to crossfade them both up without actually setting their values. Jeez, what is going to go on there? Okay, actually, that might not be too bad. Okay, I think I might know how to do this. Okay. Geez, maybe not. Hold on. Let's go back here. Let's go to enter darkness. Go to definition. Jeez. I need. Yeah. Okay. So. Oh boy. Oh boy. That is not okay. I really. Jeez. So this is just a bool getter that's calculated every time it's requested. It's not ideal. Okay. Well. I can, I suppose, reference that, but that's not going to give me actually a good test here. Especially because crossfade actually needs to be done multiple times, so it's not great. Dang it, I don't want to. I can break this stuff out into coroutines, but even that's actually going to get kind of unwieldy because I have to stop and start them. I suppose I can try that. So we're going to move this over from... Crap, I can't do that. I actually need to have update be there. Otherwise, I won't know if the player is in the dark. I would have to refactor that to handle a bool being set. Wow, that is just awful, isn't it? Okay then. So let's go ahead and go definition here. Let's drag this back over here. Yeah, so that's not great. That's not great at all. Jeez. Trying to think about how we want to handle this. I am not having a good time. Okay, dark zone. zone, on trigger exit, on trigger enter. Interesting, we don't do that on stay. Okay, let me think. Honestly, I guess the main thing is that I just need to have an event fire. Okay then, let's go ahead and find all references to islet. Islet is equal to false. Return islet. Do I? Probably not. Where are you? Let's see. Find all references. Yeah, excuse me. Man, that is terrible. Yawning on my own Devstream. Apparently I need to get more sleep. Let's see. Return islet is equal to value. That's in the public space here. Because here's the thing. I could make this I could make items that are having their lit value set to true fire an event, which the hero could be listening for, which would then fire another event, telling the light dark manager that the hero has lit an item. But that's not actually a great idea, because it's entirely possible that you might light an item, then drop it. And in that case, then our light dark zone needs to know if you're carrying that. Okay, so okay, so I can't really even do it that way. So this is not fun. Fade in, crossfade, all that stuff works. But if I want different values, then I need to tell it to do something else. Let's see here. I suppose this could... Hold on. Jeez, I need to have like a primary and a secondary crossfade, don't I? Yep, I do. Okay, so we're going to say private float dark cross, we'll just say dark fade is equal to 0f, private float lit fade is equal to 0f. Okay. So what we're going to do here, fade in, we're going to need to change this somewhat. So I'm going to go ahead and comment this entire thing out, because it's going to be completely different. So we're going to say if fade in, then we're going to do something else. Okay. So if global.hero.has light source, we are going to do stuff, and else we're going to do other things. I guess I'm also going to go ahead and rename this to in dark. Okay. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and just make this the same. There. Okay. So if we are in the dark and we have a light source, then we want to make sure that... Hold on. Oops, I hit the wrong button. And let's see. Lit fade is less than 1f. Okay. Else, so if we're in the dark and jeez, no. We're gonna wrap this again. If lit fade is less than 1f. And otherwise, if we're in the dark, we're going to say if dark fade is less than 1f, then we're going to fade that in. Okay. So if lit fade is less than 1f, we're going to say lit fade plus equals time dot delta time divided by fade duration. We will also say if dark fade is greater than 0f, I'm going to say dark fade minus equals time dot delta time divided by fade duration, and then we'll just leave that as is for now. Okay, and that's not quite enough. We're going to say lit darkness volume dot weight. I can't spell weight apparently. Weight is equal to lit fade pure darkness volume dot weight is equal to dark fade. Gonna go catch some sleep. Sounds like a good plan. Well, thanks for stopping by, Jelmega. Glad to hear progress is progressing pretty well on your engine. But good luck. Good luck finishing that stuff up. Or I guess getting the window API to at least work. Alright, so next we're going to do pretty much the opposite of this. Go ahead and paste that in. So instead of lit fade, we're going to say minus equals. We're going to say plus equals here. We're going to just basically swap these guys around. That, put you here, put this here, and we're going to say while lit fade is greater than 0f, which actually I guess should be moved outside here, I think. Same up here, I want that to be moved. Get rid of you. Dark fade. Pretty much the same. Okay. And now we need to do the opposite of this. Actually, well, it's not even really that. It's going to be this for the most part. If lit fade is greater than 0f. Same thing for dark fade. We're just going to minus equals that stuff, and all of that should be good. So I think that will do what we want. Go ahead and let that compile. So the expected behavior here is that when I enter the dark, it should show the pure dark vignette. And if I put a light, or if I turn on my lamp while I'm in the dark, it should then crossfade from that over to the lit darkness volume. Then, of course, if I put the lamp out, it should crossfade back. And if I were to walk out of the darkness in either case, it should just fade them back out. So I think this is set up correctly. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. I have high hopes. Let's take that. Hold lamp. I'm not going to turn it on yet. Okay, so there's our center one. Let's go ahead and say light lamp. Ooh, how nice, how nice. Okay, now we're going to say extinguish lamp. Nice. Might change the speed for our vignetting, but that's fine. And if I go out, all right, we're going to go ahead and light the lamp again. Should just fade in. Yep, it's very subtle, but it did fade in. Then get the fade out. All right, nice. So it does work. It does work. And that system is functional. So it's a little bit messier than I would like. I don't really like doing it that way, but it does let us have two completely separate volumes that we can then crossfade between. So now I'm not just confined to something like vignette. I could have all kinds of volume effects applied and give us an effect that we would like to use. So that's kind of nice. That being said, oh geez, I gotta look up color correction stuff. Um, Jeez, color correction is just not my field. Ah, I, I'm not the type of person who thinks like that. Okay. Well, trying to think what else we can do with scripts for now because I'm not really comfortable doing color grading. Um, I mean, I can try, but can I? Oh, there's no way to. Oh, good. Right clicking resets. That's good. Perfect. Um, oh God, that hurts. Apparently, you're not supposed to go all the way to the blue, or to any region really. So I don't think we want lift. Darkest portions of the render. Darkest portions? Then why are you tinting everything? Oh my goodness. Wow, that is... Okay. I think I want you to be at 0. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I can't set you to 0, can I? Ah, that's so annoying. I can't... Like the slider is too imprecise. I can't set it back to 0. It's either got to be at 0.01 or nothing. Oh, okay. I have to right click inside of here. Huh. The whole game is written in C#. I don't think I've done anything in the editor outside of UI. Yeah. Do you mean like editor scripting? Or, let me see here. Let's turn off lift. Kind of just trying to... General. I know I don't want green tint. Oof. Let's see here. Also, did I spawn more stuff? No. Okay, whatever. See, I kind of want like a yellowish tint almost here. Obviously not like all the way yellow because that makes it look ghastly. But something subtle to give it just a kind of a warm tint, really. What about gains? Yeah, I think I need to really look at how to do this stuff because I don't have a clue what I'm doing here. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to look into color grading theory because I do not know. I don't think just the game. It's a weird case, but no, it's gotta be. But it's how I got it. It's gotta be. Interesting though. Well, so hold on a second. I don't think I've done anything. Oh, okay. I think. So you mean that you've been programming pretty much everything in C# and you haven't been using the editor for much? So you've just been doing everything through like raw code. Um, and also no, don't like the green tint. Green tint makes everything look sick. To me, makes it look like a hospital or some diseased place. Uh, uh, okay, I think we're gonna call it a night. It's a little early. I mean, well, I say that like 2 hours of a dev stream is early, but um, I really need to look into color grading and how to the theory behind it before I can really do anything with this. Because I clearly have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm clearly out of my depth, or out of my depth. So yeah, I'm gonna look into this, try to figure out how to color grade, and then hopefully we can just come back into this and I'll be able to masterfully make all the colors pop. But until then, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. We have some amount of post-process effects set up, and we also have crossfading between those post-process volumes for things like vignettes when you're in the dark, which I do like that effect. But yeah, I clearly need to just need to get my hands into the whole post-processing stuff because I'm completely out of my element here. So, all right, that is a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.